Hey guys, good morning and good evening. So let's start with today's session and let's see what exactly we're doing. Okay, so it's a continuation of ARM. Just a quick glance. There were a few prerequisites which I've asked you to set up, such as setting up CLI, setting up Visual Studio, installing the plugins. Post that, we have created this folder ARM web app, and this is the file which we have created, webapp.json. Okay, so this is my blank ARM template which we have right now. How do I create a web app? So the things which I want to create is the web app. Okay, how do I go ahead and create that? So I'll come down. So till here everyone is clear, guys? Any questions, any doubt what exactly we are doing and things like that? No? Anyone? No? Then okay, so let's go ahead and write the
Can you recap how we get the did you get the template from somewhere or you created it within Visual Studio Code?
I'll be creating it within the Visual Studio Code.
Or you pick it within Visual? No, I mean
Yes.
the template we have now, the web app, the JSON file.
This is
So did you get
yesterday we have created. So nothing I have created. I just created a JSON file, webapp.json. This is the file which I have created. I've
okay?
changed the language. So the language is very important over here because it's a JSON file. You need to go and change it to Azure Manager template. This is the language what you need to select. How do you get this
Okay.
language? So when you go and download the plugin, there is a plugin called Azure Resource Manager plugin which I have installed. So it's part of my prerequisite. This documentation is attached on the drive. So in the yesterday session you'll find this documentation also. Post which the only thing I did inside the JSON file is entered A. In the A there is an option of subscription template which I wanted, and we have a subscription template right over here, and we are right on the screen. So nothing we have done, like I have not written anything as such. Okay, make sense?
Uh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, so what are the resources we need to create first? So I need to create a web app. So we all know web app is not the only thing which gets created. Along with web app you need to create a resource group. Correct, we need to create a resource group, then a service plan, then a web app gets created. These are the three things which gets created. Correct, then where you create a web app. Okay, these are the three things which you need to create, even though if you're creating manual. If you're creating it manual also, for example, as the app service, if you're creating this app service manually, so the first thing what it will ask for, it will ask for a resource group name. This is a web app name, and this is your service plan, the service plan which you're creating. Okay, the same thing even though if you're doing it directly from the portal. The same thing you need to follow if you're creating a template. So one issue while using ARM template is you cannot create resource group using a template file. What you cannot do, you cannot create a resource group using a template file. So these are the two services you can create, service plan and web app. For this resource group, I'll show you a different way. How do we create a resource group automatically? So that is using a CLI, and in the pipeline I'll show you how using a task we can create a resource group. So even ARM is not supporting, but it doesn't mean that you'll go and create it manual. This will also be automated eventually. Okay, so let's focus on the service plan and web app. So if you want to create a service plan, just come to resources and just type ARM. So when you type ARM, you get everything. This is all thanks to your plugin. You get everything whatever you want to create. Now in this I want to create a web app. Okay, so if I see that I am getting a web app at the top, but before that I need to create a service plan. So I can have something like web app or something like service. See this, the third option. Now if you see the third option, ARM plan, what exactly it is? Application service plan. This is what we are looking for, correct? Done. Got the piece of code. Now let's read through the code what exactly it is. Now in resources, starting with a bracket, closing with a bracket, that means it's a list. So you can have multiple resources created inside. This is one of the resources which is getting created right now. The one is the name of the resources, service plan 1. This is the type. This type will remain as it is, guys. You cannot change the type. This is by which we will identify what type of services you're trying to create. This is the API version. Again, this cannot be changed. Depending upon if there's any new version, if Microsoft comes with new ARM template version, then you can mention that over here. There is 2019 also. There's a new version 2019. This is 2020. Okay, this is the latest one what we're using, 2020, guys. Prior to that there was 2019, there was 2017, 2015. I've even used 2012. Okay, so this is 2020. This is the latest one. This is the location, from where exactly the location you'll get it. So this is a key value, guys. So this is the key and the value is given over here. Now the location, there could be multiple location, that's why it is given in as a list over here again. So it is taking location from the resource group location. So whatever resource group we create, the location will be taken from the resource group, and this service plan will be created inside that resource group. SKU, stock unit. F1, remember that comes in free tier. F1 comes in free tier. So this F1 is by default selected. If you want to change it, you can go and change it. If you want to have multiple options, even that you can do it. I'll show you that later. This is the tagging part. Tagging is always key value because this is multiple taggings you can do. It's not just one tag. If you want to have more taggings, you can have the, like if you want to have something environment as such, you can have this tagging done. You can even have more taggings involved. Okay, even this is possible. These are property name, app service plan. So this was all created by the plugin. You don't need to write all this by yourself, or don't even need to remember the syntax by yourself. This was all created by the plugin. Later I'll show you how do we make changes. Don't worry about this error. This is just because the resource group is not there. So later I'll show you how do we make changes to this template. For now we'll just go with the default flow and see how things are created. Now this is the service plan created. We got the service plan ready. RG, as I said, resource group will create in a different way. Now how do we create a web app? You can simply come over here, put a curly braces, comma, come down and look for web app. So if you see ARM web app, web application, done. Same thing, the only difference is name is web app, the type is Microsoft.websites, and this the type was Microsoft Web Server Farms. This is how your API will understand what type of resource you're trying to create. What did I say? This JSON file gets converted into a API put call, and all thanks to this API version and this type, they will come to know what exactly resources you're trying to create. Okay, coming back, you have your web app, you have your type, you have your API version, the location, it will take the location again from the resource group which we create. Then you got tagging. So it's a different way of tagging. What it is doing, it is concatenating, like adding two, it will fetching resource ID followed by the service plan, and it is creating the concat tag plus a display name is giving web app. Depends on, Now this is a additional thing, depends on criteria which is placed inside your web app. What does this depends on mean? This means that this web app creation is dependent on this service farm creation. If the server farm is not created, if the plan is not created, then the web app should not be created. If suppose this particular resource creation fails, if this particular resource creation fails, this will also not be created. All thanks to this depends on server farm app service plan 1. So this is dependent on this resources. Okay, so this is important because web app will not be created without a service plan. So we got this depend on parameter, conditional parameter over here, followed by the properties and the output and everything. So we just have things in your resources and nothing else. I'm not keeping anything else, and just save it. I'm not defining any variables, no function, nothing we are defining. Make sense? Okay guys, so this is what we have right now. Now how do I execute this? This is my template is created, guys. This will go and create a template for me. This is a very basic template. I have not made any amendment, I have not made any changes, no variables defined, no parameters defined, nothing as such we have defined. Now how do I execute this template? Now there are multiple ways you can integrate this template with your pipeline. That is something I'll show you later. Or you can create using command line also. So from my local command I can also execute these commands. I can also execute this template and run the template using Azure CLI commands. Okay, so that was the whole purpose why I have installed CLI and I have logged into Azure AZ login I did. That was the whole purpose. Now the first thing is we don't have a resource group, correct? This needs to be created first, and as I said, ARM is not managing resource group. So how do I do it? So resource group creation, if you want, there's a different way of altogether a different template you need to use in ARM, but the focus area is creating the resources, not the resource group. Okay, so in order to create a resource group I can make use of Azure CLI command. There is a command called AZ group create, okay, followed by which location you want, L, East US, West US, whatever you want, followed by the resource group name. What is the name of the resource group I want to set? devopsmela -rg. Correct? AZ group create. From where did I got this command? That's from Microsoft official website. That's not my command. Okay, I'll show you the official website later. For now, this is the command which you can go and execute for creating a group on your cloud. Before you go and execute this command, the prerequisite should be completed, guys. This should be completed. If you're running this command without these prerequisite, then nothing will happen. You'll get an error. Okay, let's wait while the resource is getting created. Where exactly? I've got multiple accounts. I don't know which one I am logged in. This is getting created over here. This is taking time. Let's cancel this and do a easy login again. Okay, let's do a easy login again. I think there is a login issue. It should not take this much of time. I think this terminal itself is taking time. Forget about this. Let's use a git bash and run the same commands. Let me see. Terminate. I'll be using git bash as I'm inside the directory. Okay. Now let me run the command az. Let's do the az login first. Let's see if we are logged in currently. Why is taking time today? Let's wait. Okay. Everywhere this is taking time. There's some issue, guys. Let me cancel this all. Let me run this command and let's see why it is taking time. Which there seems to be some issues, guys. It is not running the command. Okay, forget about this for now. Why this is not running? That is my question. Not even running in. Okay, PowerShell was successful. I'm logged into devopsmela training. Let's run the command over here. I'm currently logged in. This is what I was waiting for. Let's go inside this folder. Desktop, ARM, and I can run the same command over here also, guys. It's not that you need to use any bash terminal or anything as such. These are AZ CLI command. Let's verify the AZ version also. Yeah, this looks good. What was the command? AZ group create -l east US, west US, whatever you want to keep, -n devopsmela -rg. Let's wait. We should not take this today. I think it's taking time. It should not take more than 10 seconds also. Let's see if the resource got created. Not created yet. So it's some sort of API call which is happening in the backend. That part is taking time. We are already authenticated, so it should run directly, but somehow it's not running. Let's wait for some more time, and I'll show you a different way of executing it directly through a pipeline. No, this is taking a good amount of time today. Okay, we'll try this tomorrow. Today we'll do a different matter. For my local there is some issues, guys. For my local system, I'm not able to run this command. Getting stuck. Okay, let's cancel this. Yeah, terminate. Okay, so I wanted to try this later, but let's do it today. If we are not able to run it through my local, let's integrate this template inside my pipeline and run it. So let's go to our project DevSecOps, and I can make use of this repository itself. I can create a separate repository, so whichever way you like, but if I'm doing it through this repository, that means I wanted to integrate this template with my repository, and I want to create the web app automatically, then deploy my application on top of it. That is something I want to achieve. Okay, I'll just clone this repository. Where's the repository? And inside this I'll just keep this template. This is open. Okay, we got this template over here, web app template. Perfect. Let's go inside that repository. Let's add it. Let's commit it. Added ARM template. Perfect. Git push. Done. We have the template in my repository now. Let's run it through pipeline. We got this template. How do I run it through pipeline? Go to pipeline section, go to releases, and I'll make use of this release itself. I'll edit the actual release. Go to task. I'll disable this for now. I don't want this for now to run. So this deployment task I'll disable, and add another task known as ARM. Okay, I'll add this task. One more change I want to do for now is I'll remove this build, because my build doesn't have the ARM file, correct? If I use this build, I will not have the ARM files. I'll not be able to execute the ARM files. So I'll remove this build. What I can do in place of build, I'll put my Azure repos, because my ARM files is where it is there inside my Azure repository. So that is the whole purpose why I have removed the build. Now I'll go and select my project DevSecOps, select my source repository DevSecOps, select my branch develop, because it's still with develop, there's nothing in my main branch. Okay, now done. This is where I'll place it up. I'll select my connection, subscription, resource group. I'll just give a resource group. If the resource group is not there, it will go and create that for me. Location, East US. Now this is the place where I need to have the template file. Okay, so I'll go and browse the template. It is there inside my ARM web app, correct? That is the whole purpose why I am selecting my source as my Azure repos, not as a build pipeline. Later I'll show you how do we put in build pipeline also. For now, this is what I'm doing. Okay, rest every other information just keep as it is. Deployment mode keep as it is, because my focus is just to show you it's a very simple template file what we have created. How do we execute the template file? Save it. Done. Now let's create a new release. Now this release has only one task, ARM template task, guys. This task is disabled for now. Let's create a new release manually. Release 5 got created. Let's deploy it. And I do see there's a gates. Let me remove this gate. We cannot remove the gate now, so let's go to the pipeline, actual pipeline, and remove this gate thing. Okay, let's go back, run the release 5, deploy. In this release 5 you cannot remove gates, it will still there because the release is already created, and for the new releases I have already removed it. Now this is a different way of creating a template through pipeline. This is I have integrated your ARM template, which I was supposed to do manual locally. Now just because of some issues, I think I may have to restart my laptop once. Because of some issues, it's not running locally. So the other way around, I am just running it through pipelines. So you should know both the ways basically. Now if you see, it is checking if the resource group is created, not created, creating the resource group. Now deploying the name web app. Now this is starting template validation. The validation was successful, hence it started deploying your web app. So whatever template we have created, there's no issue with the template. That means the validation has passed successfully and the web app is getting created right now. The same thing we were trying from a command line. Don't worry, I'll try the command line again tomorrow. I'll show you from the command line how do we execute things. I just may have to restart my system. Okay, the template failed. Okay, see this failure, guys. So you when you're running through pipelines, or when you're running through local also, you'll get a clear error what exactly is wrong with your template, why the template has failed. Now if I go and read through this error, this is how you debug. Like when you are there over here, come down, hover over your logs, come to this failure section. There are 5 errors in total. What is the main error over here? This error, undefined website with given name web app 1 already exists. So your web app name should be unique, correct? It's a DNS name, domain name basically. Your domain name should be unique. So someone else is already using this name web app 1. Hence this template has failed. Okay, now how do we fix this? Go to your web app 1, open with Visual Studio, VS Code. Where is VS Code? Open with Visual Studio Code. Come down to web app 1, this is the name web app 1 which it is taking. Okay, now this is something we need to see. Change it to anything unique. Let me change it to devopsmela. Okay, not this way. Change everywhere, guys. Do a Control F. Change this with devopsmela hyphen dev. I think even dev is used by my students, so let's use something in numbers 1 2 3. Now I can go and replace all. So there are 3 places where this name was there, so I did a replace all, did a Control S. Okay, I can go and do a quick commit hyphen a hyphen m updated DevOps mela name. Okay, done. Git push. I have not enabled continuous deployment, so your release will not automatically created after the change. So if you see, the release was not created, but I can go and create a new release by myself. Now this is the commit ID 9BC. Want to verify? Go to repos, see the commit. This is what the commit we did, correct? 9BC. Now the release which is getting created, that is getting created based out of commit. Forget about the build for now. We don't have to do anything for the build. We are just running the release. If the build is failing, that we'll see it later, and we'll just deploy it. As if now I'm doing all manual. The only difference is I'm running this template file using my pipelines. That's it. Now this time the resource group will not be created, guys, because the resource group was created previously. If you go and see all resources, you can see, okay, the service plan was also created. Okay, wait, let me cancel this. Let me remove this. Oh, where did we get the resource group if we don't have the, okay. Where is resource group? There's no resource group showing over here. But in all resources we do have a resource, correct? And this resource have this resource group. Weird. Let me go through this. Enter the resource group name. Delete. Okay, let me delete this and then I'll run it again. Okay, what will happen, I'll tell you. If I run the pipeline now, this was already created. So we may end up getting another error. It's better to delete and do it all again. Nothing was done till now. Everything got skipped. Let's wait while this resource group is getting deleted. I don't know why it was not showing in my resource group section. It was still there. Okay, so is it done? Forget about it. Let's run it. Redeploy. Let's wait while this is getting created. Okay, started. Will definitely get error, because if you see this, checking if the following resource group exists, it is still showing exist. Now when my web app will get deployed, in the meanwhile this resource group will be deleted. The deletion is also happening over here. So there's a great chance that this deployment will also fail. Let's see what happens. Understood, guys, what exactly is happening right now? What are the issues we are facing right now? Anyone has any questions with the issues what we have? So we are not even talking about ARM right now. This is the deployment part what we are talking about. I was supposed to do the deployment manually, but just because there is some issues from my local system, the CLI commands are not running. Okay, let's wait. Starting deployment. Template was deployed successfully. See, resource group was not found. Validation error, we found the Azure Resource Manager template. See, this is just because resource group was not found. As I said earlier, though the template ran successfully, but just because the resource group was deleted last minute, the template was not able to create anything. Let's redeploy now. Now there shouldn't be any issue. Make sense? What was the issue? I had an expectation that while the pipeline will execute, the resource will be deleted, but that was not happening. During my initialization, it found out the resource group already present, which I was supposed to delete. Okay, let's wait now. Let's see. Now I think possibly we should not see any error. If there is one, we need to go and fix it. Anyone has any questions, any doubt till now? No one? Okay, great. Let's see if this is getting created. The service plan should be created by now. Not yet. Starting deployment. Done. Successfully deployed the template. Let's verify. Yep. We got the service plan, we got the web app name, and the web app is created. Now if I go and look into this web app, this is the naming convention which is given, and I can go and this is a service plan F1, and this is my domain name. I can go and view. We should see the web app now. This is the web app was created using a template. Now if I want to deploy my application on top of it, I can go and execute the build. My application will be also deployed successfully. The whole point is, this is the template what we have created, a simple template what we have created. Where's the full okay, this is the template what we have created. What is the issue with this template? The first issue is all your naming convention is hard coded. DevOpsmela dev, app service plan 1. Can I reuse this template for creating a QA environment? Like, can I have a naming given as devopsmela -QA 123? No, I cannot reuse this template. What did I say at the beginning when I was talking about ARM, that you can reuse templates. By this way, wherein you have hard-coded things, this name is hard-coded, the service plan name is hard-coded, your web app name is hard-coded. Where you have hard-coded things, you cannot use this, reuse this template. Keep that as simple as that. If you want to reuse, you need to make use of parameters. parameter file basically. So we need to go and make changes to this existing template, and I'll show you how do we create a reusable template basically. Before that, if you want to delete this resource, so you don't need to delete it using portal, you can use the pipeline itself to delete it. So how do you do it? Edit, release, go to task, go to template. There are 3 deployment mode. Let's cover this first. Incremental, complete, validation only. Okay. Incremental means if you are running it for the very first time, it will create the complete resources for you. Second, incremental means if there are changes to your existing resources, like if you go and change something to your existing resources, then incremental is the option, because it will not go and delete things first. It will just compare the 2 versions, and it will just make the required changes. Whatever incremental changes there, only those changes will be applicable. It will not delete everything for you. Wherein if you select complete, it will destroy your existing resource first, delete the existing resource first, then it will run the template again. It will happen for each run. It will remove your complete existing resource, whatever is there in the template, and then it will go and create the new one. Complete is something you should use very wisely, because there is a chance you will end up deleting everything if you're using the deployment mode as complete. Validation only, as the name suggests, it is only for validation purpose, it will not create anything. So always select incremental, not complete. And in order to delete, if you see this resource group, there is an action, create or update, and there is one more action, delete resource group. So if I delete this resource group, there it is. If I delete this resource group, we all know everything underlying will also delete it. Okay, so this is the option I've selected, delete, save it, run it. Done. It will be deleted. It will go and delete everything for me. This takes time, around 2 minutes. So if you want to wait, you can wait, or else we can move on to the parameter part. Okay, understood with the issue which we had with this template, what we have created. This template is running perfectly. There's no issue with this template. But the only issue which I found out is hard coding. You have hard coded. You have hard coded every name over here. You have hard coded the service plan name. You have hard coded the web app name. Now the issue with hard coding is that you cannot reuse the template. If you're using this template for any environment, it will be specific to that environment itself. That is the issue with hard coding. Now this can be fixed with parameters. This is the part wherein we can come and fix this. Now we need to define parameter, and this parameter values we can change during runtime. What do I mean by during runtime? When we are executing the pipeline, at that time if you want to change the value, you can go ahead and change the value. You have the option to change it. Okay, I see there is a chat. What is chat? Perfect. Saurav was able to create, so that I said, no, this is my system issue. Okay. The deletion is, Saurav, you can use this command, az group delete, and you can give the resource group name this way, followed by whatever resource group name you have. You can give your resource group, like in my case it was devopsmela -rg. This is how you can delete it. Okay, don't worry guys, others, I'll be covering this manual run again tomorrow. So I'll restart my system and we'll do a manual run, because if I do a restart now it will take 15 minutes. So it's better to do it tomorrow. Okay, I was talking about parameters. How do we define parameters? These values can be changed during runtime. So when you're executing a pipeline, at that time if you want to change the value, you can change it. Okay, now what is that? There are two parameters what I need to define: a service plan name and a web app name. So I just need to enter n over here. N stands for new parameter, and just select this. Okay, now in this you can just change what you want over here. A service plan name, correct? So let's name it as service plan name. Okay, now it is string, the type is string. If you want any other properties like minimum length, maximum length, anything as such, you can go and put it over here. In the description you can put it as enter service plan name, something like this you can enter, ask for. So this is one, and there's one more you want, that is web app name, correct? So again an n, new parameter, we'll name it as web app name. Again a string, I'll have a minimum length over here. So minimum length, no, maximum value, no, I want minimum length. I can have something like 1. That is a minimum length I can put. Description, enter web app name. Okay, these are two parameters which I have defined. Now I'm getting error. If you see, I'm getting 4 warnings right now. If you read through the warning, the service plan name is never used, the web app name is never used. Okay, this is known error. Why? Now wherever you see this service plan, wherever the service plan is defined, written, you need to use this parameter. What you need to use? You need to use this parameter name, the parameter name which you have defined at the top. Okay, how do you use it? You can simply do, how many places I'm using it. Do a Control F. Okay, before that let me show you how do you use it before I do a Control F. Okay, wherever you see the service plan name, you need to call your parameter over here. This name you need to call it over here. How do I call it? In order to call it, you need to have bracket, open bracket, close bracket, type parameters, then call your parameter name under curly brace, under bracket. Okay, what is the name? Service plan. This is how you need to do parameter. So what exactly you're doing, whatever values you use, where the values are defined, we haven't defined the values yet, guys. This values can be defined during the runtime, or I can have a parameter file, a separate parameter file created. I can define the values over there. For now I'm not defining the values, I'm just making sure whatever we have hard coded during my last run, because that hard coded values will not let you reuse your template, and your templates are not efficient. If you're hard coding values, your template is not efficient. Just keep that in mind. So whatever the values we have hard coded last time, I'm just created this parameters. There's no value. This parameter has just properties, that the parameter should be a string, and this is metadata, and over here I'm having additional properties of minimum length and things like that. So your web app name should be at least start with 1 character. Okay, that is what I'm telling. Now where the values are not defined yet, I'll show you where to define the values later during the runtime, or during if you want to hard code, then there's a separate section to hard code, not inside your template file. As simple as that. Now how do I call this? So this is how you will call it, parameter and the service plan. So this is something I just need to copy this and I'll put it over here. Okay, and where one more place, put it over here. Perfect. and same thing goes over here in the depends on. In the depends on, I can just remove this part, remove this bracket also. Look for parameter. I don't need to use brackets over here because if you see, the resources has already the bracket part, so I don't need additional bracket over here. So I just have this followed by open close service plan. That's it. And where else it has, this is same thing over here also. The property section also you can do the exact same thing. Perfect. Where else? Over here also, if you want, you can put it this concat, or if you don't want, you can just remove this part also. This is just a tagging. Okay, so service plan is done. The same thing I need to do with my web app name. Anyone wants to try what we need to do? What should I do if I want to have a web app parameter called over here? Anyone? Saurav, do you want to try? What should I type? As we just created the service plan name, correct? The same thing we need to do with this web app name also. So what should I do over here? Brackets, correct? Under brackets you will have parameters. Under parameter you will have brackets and your web app name. That's it. This is the only thing you need to do. Copy this part. Where is web app name? This, the display name is a web app name, and you have a web app name over here also. That's it. Gone. And there are two more warnings that is related to your type, support plan type. That is okay. You can ignore those warnings for now. These were important warnings. You got the parameter defined, and you got the parameter. You're calling the parameter name over here inside your actual resources. Now this is somehow your template is looking good. We are not hard coding any values over here. Now where do I put these values? That is an important question. From where my template will get these values? Now in order to do that, there are multiple ways to do it. One of the way I'll show you is by creating a template file. I can define the values over here also, frankly speaking, guys. If I want, I can use a value, and I can have allowed values defined, default values defined over here itself. But I don't want to do it over here because this is not the right way. You need to make your template, and all these values and all things you should always keep it separate, not inside your template file. This template file, keep in mind that there are 100 other developers, 100 other environment for which you will be using this template file. Keep that in mind and then create a template. All the GitHub templates which you will see, this will be based on this concept only, which I'm showing you right now. The template which I showed you yesterday from GitHub, these are based on these concepts. This is how they will have two files, an actual template file and a parameter file wherein you will be defining the values. Okay, so that is what I'll do. I'll have a file created. I'll name it as web app, and I'll name it as parameters dot JSON. Okay, what did I do? I've created a separate JSON file, named it as web app -parameters.json. I'll go and change the language to Azure Resource Manager. Now I'll hit A again. This time I'll use my parameter template, the last one, the parameter template selected. Okay, this is different from the actual template. Now inside your parameter template, I'll have the values defined. So again, kind of hard coding which we are trying to do, but yeah, the benefit of this hard coding is if I want to change this values later, I can easily do it using my pipelines. That I'll show you tomorrow. How do we change the values? For now, let's go and define the values. What are the parameters we have defined and what are the values we want? So the first parameter what we have defined is something called service plan name. Let me copy this, come back, have the n. Again you can do n over here guys if you want, or else I just remove this n, have this bracket. Okay, and so values could be multiple values, so you can have key value over here. So your value could be value, and then you can give a value name. What is the service plan name you want? So I want name something like devopsmela -sp. sp stands for service plan. This is the first value what I have defined. Okay, now I can also have other values. What is the second value I want? I want, why I'm getting error? Wait, I do see an error over here, so let me do it again. Service plan value give name, whatever name you want, devopsmela sp, whatever name you want to give. Okay, this is my first value which I have assigned. The second is, there are two parameters, correct? Web app name. Now the web app name, make sure this name is unique guys, because if this name is not unique, again we'll end up getting error. So this time I'll make sure I have something unique. devopsmela -dev 123, at least this numbers will not be copied. Okay, two values defined. Why this error? Okay, there's no such error guys. Frame acquired, property type not found in JSON. That's okay. Okay, so you got the template parameter also created. So we have the parameter files over here and the values I have defined it over here. Okay, now let's go and run this. This values it's a hard-coded values again, but this is not part of my actual template. In my actual template I have not hard-coded anything, I have hard-coded over here. And these values can be these values what you see. If you want to override these values while executing, even that is possible. That is something I'll show you later. For now, let's go and execute this. So let's do a quick git add, git commit, added parameter file. Git push. Okay, so we got a new commit now with the parameter file now. Let's go and quick check. Looks good. This is something what we have added. Perfect. Let's go to the release. Now how do I execute this? Now direct execution will not work. I'll have to go and edit again. Go to task. This time if you scroll down, template parameter section. There is a template parameter section wherein you can give the parameter values over here. Okay, understood? You can give your parameter file name over here. So this will go and execute your template. This will go and execute your parameters. If you want to do a validation, let's go and do a validation. Let's select validation, or else I'll select validation in my when I create the release. Okay, let's go and create a release. Any which ways, even if you're doing an incremental, it does the validation first, then it will go and execute. If you want to change, you can edit this pipeline, edit this release, and you can change the incremental mode, deployment mode to validation also. If you want to just do a validation, let's do a validation. Let's do a deploy. So this will not deploy anything, guys. This is just a validation. And if there's any issue with the template, it will give you a clear error that the template has XYZ issue. Let's wait. Okay, so there's no issue. The validation has passed. Template validation has completed successfully. If you want to deploy, edit the pipeline again, go back, change the deployment mode to incremental, redeploy. Now it will go and create the template based on the values which we have put in over here. DevOpsmela dev 123, that is the name of your web app, and this is the name of your service plan. Okay, this is the value which I have placed over here. Tomorrow I'll show you how do we override this value and how do we reuse this template for multiple environments. And tomorrow we'll do the CLI also. Okay, any questions till now, guys? Anyone? What exactly we are doing, what is this parameter and everything. I'll be sharing these files, this JSON file for your reference, but make sure to create this template from scratch using the method which I have showed you. I've not written even a single line of code. This is all with the help of a plugin I'm doing things. Okay, it's just the awareness where to do what. That is the only thing is required. Yeah, question? Anyone? I thought there was someone unmuted. No questions, guys?
I have one question.
Tell me.
Instead of creating resource group and location through Azure CLI, we are creating in resource variables section of template. We can call into that to the resources location.
I'm not getting you. You want to create resource group using variable section?
We are defining resource group name and location in variable section of template.
No, we are not creating resource group. The resource group is getting created with the help of this task. So if you see this, the action is create resource group. So this two part, action and resource group name, is creating the resource group for you. So ARM will not handle the resource group creation for you. Template will not handle that. So you're talking about this variable section?
Yeah.
No, this is not for that purpose. This is whatever values, if you want some, this variable part is used if you want to have a values defined during the runtime automatically. If you want to assign some sort of values to your parameters, at that point of time we'll be using this. So we have some parameters over here, correct? And if you want to have, and this parameter values I'm defining in a parameter file. But suppose if you want to create you want to give the values during the runtime automatically. we can have these values created from here, from the variable section.
This resource group location we are defining in variable section, so that is not possible.
No, this resource group location is basically taking this location.
Okay.
This location. It will go, so if you see this, what exactly it is written, resource group dot location. So if you run this, normally also you'll get the location filter out. So this location it is taking basically. So all my resources, if you go and see, is getting created in East US automatically. That's because of this line, resource group. If you want to hard code the location name, you want to create a different location, even that is possible. You can even define this as a parameter over here, and you can define the values over here. Even that is possible. Whatever you see, even this is hard coded right now. F1 is hard coded, capacity is hard coded, this resource group name is hard coded, this environment is hard coded. Wherever you see all this, and if you want to have this as a runtime, you want to change it at runtime, or if you want to have a distinct value, anything as such. If you want to have a distinct value, you can make use of variable. I'll show you variables tomorrow, what all things comes in variables. I'll show you the uses of variable also. But if you want to have any distinct value, then you will be using variable. But if you want to have a specific value which you will put during the runtime, when I say runtime, what do I mean by that? When you are running this pipeline,
Different environments.
and at that time if you want to define the values, even that is possible. So this is very simple template which I'm showing you right now with only minimum change. Try this by yourself. If you see, my resource was created successfully with the naming convention I want. devopsmela SP, devopsmela dev123. Now if I want another environment, devopsmela QA, quite possible, correct? I can create it. That is something I'll show you. How do I create it? Don't worry. The QA if you want stage, production, if you want a different SP, devopsmela SP, QA, even that kind of naming convention now we can put in. Okay, so Baba Tunde has some issue. No subscription found. I'm having problem with easy login. Do you have subscription created, Baba Tunde?
You mean, did you have a what I just did was did the hazy login? I suppose I'm supposed to have a subscription.
No. Okay. First, make sure you log into the portal.
Yeah. Okay.
Go to the portal. The portal should be open on a browser. This way. Then you can go and do hit the easy login using PowerShell. Try using PowerShell.
Yeah, I did it on PowerShell.
Yeah. But make sure this is open. The browser is open.
Okay.
Yeah, Rohit, one question here. Sorry for interrupt. The same issue I found actually. I used to connect using, the command agent login --use -device -code.
Okay.
It's let me to access the subscription.
Yeah,
Try
so,
with this.
Yeah, if you have multiple subscription, then you will get this error. Try this. First run this command easy account. This subscription ID. Copy the subscription ID from here. Where is the subscription ID? In the overview screen, you get the subscription ID. Copy this and run this command. Baba Tunde, just replace this subscription ID and run this exact command. Then you should be able to connect to your subscription. This is mostly error you get it when you have multiple subscription, guys. In single subscription, I don't think you get this error. If you're facing this issue, you can try this also. Okay, so that's it. I was expecting the CLI thing and wanted to do this pipeline later, but now the CLI is not working somehow. We'll do the CLI again. Tomorrow we'll continue with this pipeline wherein I'll show you how do we create multiple environments. And tomorrow I'll introduce two pipeline variables also. We haven't touched the pipeline variable yet. So I'll introduce what is pipeline variables, how do we create a custom variables, and how do we change the values during the runtime. All this is very important from your CD perspective, because you will be using these pipeline variables a lot, because even later, if you want to reuse your pipeline task also, if you want to create multi environments, so we cannot hard code any values, as if now even your web app deployment which you're doing, you're hard coding values right now, which we don't want. Because if you're hard coding, if you want to create a new environment, you need to make a hell lot of changes inside your pipeline. In my case, I just have one task for now, but in reality there could be 10 tasks. So remembering what to change, where to change, this becomes very difficult. So this variable comes very handy when you're working with pipelines. So that is something we'll see tomorrow, and if time permits, we'll see the CLI also. Okay, or else we'll do the CLI later, or else we'll start with CLI, whatever is best. Okay guys, any question before we wind up the call for today?
Rohit, one question. Please open that Visual Studio Code. So here we created, the first ARM template. Then second we created parameter.json, right?
Correct.
So the resource group name, how the ARM template knows to create the specific, the resource group name. That's I'm getting confusing.
All thanks to this task which we are executing. The task which we are using, using this task we are creating a resource group. Okay, this is the task where we are creating the resource group. This is the place where we are using the location, and inside this task here we have this template file of yours. Now this template file is reading the location from here, and it is reading the resource group from here.
Yeah. Okay, fine, got it.
Anyone else, guys? There's one more. Let me see. Okay, yeah, easy login device code. Okay, this is when your browser is not popping up. Yeah, when this is the command, guys, if auto login screen is not coming up, so your on the command line itself it will give you a code using which you can even try this command. So in my case, if I do a easy login, if you see my browser is automatically popping up, and I can select the login user ID and credential. Okay. And in your case, if it's not happening, then use device code is also a flag which you can use it. Okay, anyone else? Any other questions, guys? Okay, so Saurav is asking that resource group will delete the complete resource group itself. You want to delete specific resources, then you need to use resource ID. That is something where I'll show you when we have CLI. Sort of. Okay, if no question, guys, thank you very much. Let's meet up tomorrow and let's continue with this ARM topic. Bye bye.